Now, the annual consumer price index of South Africa is currently sitting at 5.9%. Now, this kind of inflation, or this kind of a figure, it is the one that measures the cost of living in South Africa. So the higher this figure becomes, the more the cost of living becomes more and more expensive, which is one of the things that then leads the central bank increasing the interest rates. Now, you remember that last week, for those of you that watched a video I did yesterday, the US or USA Federal Reserve came out and increased interest rates by 75 basis points, which then, of course, I indicated on that video that it had or brought some positive news into South Africa, because all the important things that we obviously receive from the USA are going to be reduced in terms of the price, because what really happens on inflation is that you get the prices of products, or the basic products that we use on a day-to-day, skyrocketing. I mean, here in South Africa, I mean, even if you don't own a car, you already know that, or chances are very high that you know that the price of petrol is very, very high at this moment, and it is expected, or it is still expected, to rise even further due to the high inflation that is, of course, around the world. And one of the main things that, of course, it is adding or causing the price of petrol in South Africa to rise, it is the Ukraine and Russia war, which, of course, you will know that Russia, of course, specifically looking at Russia, it is the third biggest oil producer in the world, and you know that petrol comes from oil, which then just definitely means that due to that war, of course, there are some supply chain constraints due to that, which end up making, of course, or bringing shortages in, of course, the supply of petrol, which is, of course, one of the main things that is making the price of petrol to go high. Same goes to food. You remember that, of course, Russia and Ukraine are one of the biggest producers of wheat, which, of course, due to that war, again, we are getting to see the prices of food increasing worldwide. But as I've said, the good thing is that when the central banks start increasing the interest rate, of course, they are trying to curb, or that result in, of course, many producers, of course, reducing the price, because what was happening, or what happened, is that now you get so many consumers having to, or looking to buy certain products, and yet the production capacity probably at the plants of which those products are being produced remains the same. So what they do is that when the demand of those products goes higher, or becomes higher, what they do is that they increase the prices of those products, which is the very same thing that we are seeing due to the fact of shortages in petrol, shortages of probably wheat. That is why we are seeing even the prices of food being going up, due to this reason of saying that, of course, now the demand is too much, but of course the production still constant, and yet the demand is high, which then just has to push, or it's pushing the producers or the manufacturers to, of course, increase the prices of the kind of products they produce. So these interest rate hikes that, like I said, the central bank introduces, they are trying to curb the, of course, prices, or this kind of prices, so that at least they can stabilize once again. Because like I told you in the video which I did yesterday, obviously by now you should know that food prices are still expected to rise by at least a double digits in the second half of this year. Now, why am I telling you all these stories? I'm telling you all these stories trying to show you that this is one of the main reasons why even the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, which measures the cost of living in South Africa, is high. This is one of the main reasons why we are seeing prices of products, or daily products we use on a day-to-day, rising here in South Africa. And ladies and gents, if there's one thing that I continue emphasizing, is that unfortunately inflation, even here in South Africa, is expected to reach its peak probably towards the end of this year, meaning that prices of food, prices of petrol, prices of the day-to-day products that we probably use, they are still going to go up. And ladies and gents, that, my friends, is what is going to make, obviously, the central bank to, of course, increase or continue increasing interest rates. So some of the local analysts believe that if we can be able to maintain the CPI below 6%, as it is currently at 5.9% right now, that would be great. But again, the prices of petrol, prices of food, it's still going up, which chances are very high that probably on Wednesday, the CPI or the cost of living rising due to the increase in fuel and food prices, which is something that, of course, you should have at the back of your mind going to tomorrow's data or tomorrow's CPI figures, which are expected to be released, like I said, tomorrow. These are some of the important things that, of course, they will affect you and me. These are some of the things that, of course, affect the stock market. I personally think that if we get to see, obviously, the consumer price index rising above 6%, then chances are very high that the JSE top 40, we might see it dropping or plummeting, which is something that, of course, yeah, I really don't want to see that. But if we get to see the CPI going above 6%, I personally think that that's when we will see, obviously, the top 40 shares or the top 40 index dropping. So with all that, the cost of living, like I said, remains to be high. And it's the thing is that it's not only happening in South Africa, it's also happening in most of the countries outside of South Africa. I mean, last week, like I said in the beginning of this video, we got to see the US or the Federal Reserve increasing interest rate by 0.75% in the US, which of course was brought or came due to the fact of the core CPI or of the CPI numbers, or which came 2 weeks ago in the US, meaning that if we also get to see the CPI numbers tomorrow here in South Africa going up, chances are we are going to get to see probably the central bank increasing interest rates by around 50 basis points, which is something that, of course, just simply means that, of course, consumers, especially those that have loans, are going to also be impacted or affected by the interest rate hikes, unless you have got a fixed interest rate in your loan. But if you have got probably a fluctuating interest rates that depends on how the economy is doing, then obviously you are going to be impacted by that. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just do or give you this quick video about what is it that we are to expect tomorrow. As you know, that South Africa, like I said, they will be revealing or giving us the CPI figures, which annual CPI, like I said, it's 5.9%, and that it would be actually great to see it going or dropping. But I personally think that it's either we get it continuing at 5.9%, or we actually get to see it increasing over 6%, which is something that, of course, we, like I said, will definitely hurt the consumers due to, of course, the interest rate hikes that will then follow the CPI increase, which is something that, of course, you should always have at the back of your mind. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I make tons and tons of stock market investing videos, and if you think that this video was amazing, please don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And also subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you.